We were a little fast. Oops.
Hello, everybody. Jay Rhymes here at the Periodic Review. We hope you all are having an incredible day. Greetings, kings and queens of the internet. So this is the place where we talk about people, places, and things from life, the universe, and everything. And it's boys' night, so
Yeah.
why is it peaking?
Crazy.
Is it supposed to be peaking like that?
I don't think so. Probably not.
I think I did something wrong.
We broke something.
So I should probably go over there and fix it.
Shoot, are we live right now?
Shit, yeah.
Maybe.
So it's boys' night.
And acknowledging the technical issues with the boys.
And I'm peaking.
We'll be right back after this thing. What a great start. Hope everyone's chilling today. I don't really know what to talk about right now, but I'm going to keep talking just to avoid or to keep attention off of what's going on right now. Whoa.
Is that peaking?
That I can't. Whoa.
No, it doesn't.
You realize how loud I sound right now, right? Sorry, audio listeners.
The gain is way high.
Oh, my goodness.
How's that? Is that better?
Let's see. For me, it sounds all right, Kai.
Yeah, it sounds.
Okay.
What?
Try to peak it.
Me?
Yeah.
Start screaming.
Ah!
There we go.
Is it good?
Yeah, we're fine, I think.
Sorry, guys.
Peaking.
We're
That
professionals.
was lovely.
More or less.
There's someone in the house.
And the bed
Just
goes
kidding.
squeaking.
Anyways,
don't go
guys,
peeking.
hope you all are having an incredible day. Sorry for the false start. That was my bad. I'll have to make a note that I don't do that again. So, but today it is Mr. Bryson's. We've actually been pushing him back a couple of episodes,
I know.
but tonight is boys' night, and
Yeah,
he has our
boy.
topics tonight. What's new with you guys first? What's new in your world, Mr. Bryson?
Mr. Me?
Mr. Mime.
Mr. Me? Well, since being on, man, it's been so long since I've been on here. I had started my new position at my job because I had gotten a quality assurance position. And so I went and did training for that, and that's why I had missed one of the weeks that I was gone. Because I went back up to Ogden for some training for that, and then I came back down for a couple weeks, and then I went back up for my brother's graduation, so that was really cool. But yeah, that's kind of all that's been happening with me. Just kind of getting into the summer vibe of everything, not having to do school. It's great.
Yeah.
What's you, Mr. Kai?
Let's go.
Well, while you've been chilling not in school, I have been chilling in school. Luckily, all my stuff is online, so I've been able to fly through a decent portion of it. Just got to get some financial stuff figured out this week with it, which every college student has to deal with, I think.
Yeah.
The least exciting part about all of it. On top of that, this internship that I've started with the Love Yourself Foundation has been really cool. So far, the people that I've interacted with and the team that I've been working with have all been really phenomenal and super easy to communicate and work with and be open with. It almost feels like I'm working with friends already.
Oh, that's nice.
So, yeah, they've been a really cool community to be a part of and adopt.
Nice.
I also started a new position at work. I don't know if I've talked about it on this, but
I don't know. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so it's been kind of cool to move along with Bryson and a couple of other people that are moving up in the office. The position is called a team coach. So I'm a supervisor for a few of our operators in our workplace, and it's been a learning curve.
Nice.
And it's been a lot to learn, but I mean, I've enjoyed it a lot so far, and it's been pretty fun. So I enjoy it a lot because I can make my own schedule, and
That's what I really like too.
Yeah, it's just super convenient. And yeah, it's been interesting. It's been busy, but honestly, I would rather be busy than bored.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah. This last weekend, I got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This last weekend, I got to spend a lot of time with my dog, which is really, really nice. I got
How is your dog?
Huh?
How is your dog?
She's doing great, man.
That's wonderful.
Super exciting, full of love as always.
Thank you for joining us on NPR Dog Talk.
Dog talk.
Okay, hear me out. New term.
I can't hear.
You can't hear?
No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, it makes sense that you're the one out of all of us that can't hear.
That's true. Person with deaf blood.
Hear me out. Instead of calling veterinarians or vets, we now call them doctors.
Oh my god. I like it. We're doing that.
Trademark it.
Trademark.
Woof.
You could be making millions, Kai.
Bajillions even.
But yeah. Oh, also, I got a new plant this weekend. Pretty cool.
A plant?
Yeah.
What kind of plant did you get?
It's just an air plant.
Oh, okay.
But it's cool because
Indoor or outdoor?
Indoor. It can. Okay, so you only need to like water it once a week, or if you have it like in your bathroom, then you only have to you don't have to water it at all because the steam and the mist take care of it. So.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It's cool because like so it's one of those hanging plants.
Mm-hmm.
But like the pot is upside down, and the way that the plant comes out, it looks like a jellyfish hanging from the
That's
ceiling.
wicked.
Yeah, it's so cool. I'll send a picture to you guys later. But
Nice. I like it. It sounds cool.
anyways, sorry. I've been getting into plants a lot lately, and it's been pretty fun.
I know. I was
Nice.
trying to. We had a little like bamboo plant in my apartment that was very dead. No one had been taking care of it. I tried to revive it. Nothing came of that. So
Bamboo's
Aw.
hard.
yeah. I was like, oh well, I'll have to just get something new.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I have a bamboo plant now that I'm trying to keep alive.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That's the hardest thing is keeping them alive. There's
Yeah.
apparently an app for that. Apparently there's an app that can scan your plant and let you know what it's sick with and what it needs.
what's this app? This would be really helpful.
I don't know what it's called, but I seen it on TikTok.
Okay.
We'll have to find it.
I'm just while you give your update, I'm gonna look for this plant app.
Sounds
Kai's
great.
like, I must know.
So there's not
Nice.
really well, actually there is a ton of shenanigans
Are you
going
kidding?
on.
There's
But-
nothing new.
Yeah, so this weekend a lot of things are happening. So anyways, happy Memorial Day everybody. So
Yay.
shout out to all those Memorial people.
Memorial.
What is Memorial Day? Is that
It's for
is that like a-
veterans who lost their lives, I think.
that's what it is? Okay, I knew it was like veteran related. But,
Yeah.
Well, there's
But
Veterans
in
Day.
addition to that, I just had my birthday yesterday. At was it 10 something p.m. I turned 41.
Oh my God, you're ancient.
I'm old.
Not
Not really.
How does
Not
it,
really that
How does
old.
it feel?
It feels about the same as it was when I turned 35.
Nice.
I mean, I guess that's good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, I haven't felt like I've aged much since then. Kind of stayed plateaued in my aging. It feels like.
Well, happy late birthday,
Oh,
man.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. In addition to that, so the 27th was my birthday, and the 31st, which is Tuesday. Is that right? Tuesday? Let's say 28th.
Yes. So that'll
So
be
it's-
Wednesday.
So Wednesday, excuse me.
It is
So
my
Wednesday
dudes.
is my lovely wife Rhiannon and I's 9th year anniversary.
this coming Wednesday.
Yeah, it's
oh,
coming
that's
Wednesday.
exciting.
You guys gonna do anything?
So
for
it's
it?
like beam bang boom every year. Celebrate my birthday. Well, your Memorial Day, my birthday, and then our anniversary, all on the same week, something like that.
You guys got plans? Of course you do, right?
We've already kind of did a anniversary dinner, which we did out at Milt's, which is kind of one of our steakhouses up near Bryson Canyon. I guess is that it? Is that what
You
that
said
is?
Bryson Canyon.
Not
It's
Bryson.
Bryce Canyon.
Bryce
Hey, Bryson,
Canyon.
did you
I have,
know?
my, I have
Canyon.
my own canyon.
You
I'm so
do.
excited.
Did you not know this already? Yeah, so we did that. We also did a class on Saturday. We did a 4-hour conceal and carry class. So we got our certification through shout out to Legal Heat, I think is the name, the Utah company. And Sportsman's Warehouse. Thank you. That was pretty awesome. So
So-
we're going to be submitting those hopefully this week so that we got our permits.
So from what I understand, actually, I may not know at all because I don't know anything about gun laws. But in Utah, you don't need a license to carry, do you?
No,
But it's
right since was it 20? I think it was like 20. I want to say it was 2021. May 2021. I think they went to what's called a constitutional carry.
Utah would.
So yeah, so actually, it come to find out, Utah is one of the most friendliest when it comes to firearm laws.
Utah would be.
Yeah, like they welcome like open carry, concealed carry, like onto like school property and stuff like that. Like it's wild. Like I was just like, whoa! You would think that it'd be Texas. Like every time you think of firearms,
True.
you think Texas, right?
Yeah, I think I remember when we were living in Texas, there was a sign at like this barbecue steakhouse that we had gone to, that was like, "Guns are welcome. Keep them holstered unless the need arises."
Yes, I do remember
like
that.
yeah.
Yes, but that's not. That's actually a myth. Utah's actually the most firearm friendly, which is interesting.
I guess that does kind of surprise
So-
me. Texas would be, but like I guess Utah is a little more.
And you know that they have not had a mass shooting on a school property?
Utah?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I believe that. Is that true? Bryson, can you fact check that?
I'm pretty sure the only mass shootings that they've had was at a church. Like
Because that's
recently, it was
so
like a
much
church
better.
and a mall. I think it was that shooting with that one congresswoman that got shot in the head or whatever, and she survived, but she had like she's like this, like she has a disability now. Do you guys not remember that? That was like 2018, 2019, I want to say.
This wasn't at a church. This was at.
I think that was at the mall. I think she
Oh.
was at the mall doing either visiting or doing something. I don't know. I'm kind of blanking on it, but we talked about it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so basically constitutional carry allows you to either conceal carry or open carry without a permit. Like you don't have to have one. But
This could turn into a whole other conversation.
it really could. But yeah, we learned a lot of really interesting things about that, which were really fascinating. So that was fun. We're gonna get both of our Utah and Arizona permits, which will allow us to conceal carry, open carry with a permit out like in like I think it's like majority of the states. There's like some states that you can't, and you have to like get permits like in that city. Kind of like with licensing, when we're installing security systems.
Yeah.
Like you get like one license and it would like cover for like many states, but then some states or even some like counties you had to get specific ones. Kind of the same thing with firearms. So it was kind of like a lot of safety stuff, which was really cool. But mostly it was just information you need to understand. A lot of it, like honestly, the vast majority of it was pretty common sense. Like obviously, like, utilizing a firearm is like your last resort kind of a thing. Like if you can get away from the situation, get away from the situation.
I hope you didn't learn that. I hope you knew that before.
Oh,
this
I did.
class.
Oh, I totally did. Not only because I grew up around firearms, so I knew a lot of this stuff already, but I also went through the Arizona Armed Guard class, where I got to actually like shoot firearms next to like retired military, retired FBI, retired
I'd be so
police.
intimidated.
Oh, it was so intimidating. Like these guys were just, yeah, let's go shoot guns. I'm just like, dude, you guys are awesome. I was geeking out a little bit. Anyway, so that's new. The other new thing, which I guess I'll go ahead and announce on this episode here, is that my wife got her new position a few months back out in Payson, Utah, and then I just recently accepted a position out in Orem. I'm not really going to talk about where I'm working or what I'm doing, just because I like to have a little bit of anonymity. I don't want to give out that
Smart.
information. But it is a lateral move. I'm making pretty close to what I'm making already, but then I get all the cool benefits that being a part of a company has, instead of being a contractor delivering packages. So I'll get like that paid time off after 90 days. I'll get vision, dental,
yeah.
health.
I get benefits now too.
Nice. Congrats.
I don't.
I get shares
okay.
in the company, which is kind of cool. it's a pretty big deal, honestly, for us. So we're really excited about that. Just accepted that on Friday, I want to say. So we're trying to figure out, because I got to start not this Monday, but the next Monday. They only gave me like a week and a weekend to get ready to figure out how to get over there. So we do got some ways for me to stay there. We're not really worried. Like, everything will work out. But it's going to be really exciting because it's a new chapter in our lives. I just don't know where it leaves the periodic review because we're all here locally. But I know, like, eventually, Bryson and Alec, I'm pretty sure eventually you guys are going to get new positions in other parts of the state and move on. Maybe you'll go on and do your own podcasts, or, maybe you guys will have a home PC with enough equipment where you can, chat in from Zoom and we can continue our shenanigans over the internet, because we live in the internet age, which is actually pretty exciting. So either way, we can still stay connected. So there's that. I almost feel like we're saying goodbye. I'm getting a little emotional.
Well, it's not by yet.
Yeah, it's
but
not.
We're in the process. There's going to be changes, and we're in the process of them.
Yeah. So more info to come. I'll keep you guys updated in the future. So there's a lot of new things that happened over the last couple of weeks.
It's exciting though.
But yeah, a lot of exciting stuff, a lot of good stuff. Like it's good energy, it's good emotions. It's just a lot of stressors because I struggle with change. Like, I am a creature of habit. Like, I like having my day-to-day. I work from this time to this time. I do this much work, and then I do this much on the podcast stuff, on the YouTube stuff, and then I got a little bit of time with my wife, and then I got a little bit of time to play some games. I like having a routine every day.
Moving is really, really hard.
So changing that, just the whole packing thing is just crazy. So
packing,
you realize how much shit you have just packed away.
Yeah. And especially, in a 3-bedroom condo that we're in right now. Yeah. Like, whether we have to, pare down to like a 1 or 2 bedroom. So we may have to put a bunch of crap in our storage. Like,
I'm sure you guys are going to get rid of a lot before you.
I think so too. So I think that there's some things that we are going to keep, but like all of our spare bedroom stuff, we'll probably either sell or have it come with the house when they either purchase it or if we rent it. So we'll see. We haven't really figured out if we're going to rent or sell yet. Our place. Like, either is fine. Like, either way, it's going to it's it's gonna be interesting. But anyways,
moving's hard, man.
Yeah.
So stressful.
Speaking of moving on, we have some wonderful topics today for you guys. So, Mr. Bryson, why don't you tell us a little bit what we're talking about today, and let's jump right in.
Okay. Video games.
Video games.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's why it's boys' night.
Yeah, that's right. Rihanna's like, no, we're not talking about that. But yeah, so I just
Candy Crush.
I just want to talk about, kind of video games. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about new games coming out, like Spider-Man 2. They just released a bunch of gameplay for, and Tears of the Kingdom just came out. Woo! But so
Diablo 4 in was it June?
Yeah.
No,
I can't
no,
remember.
July. No, wait.
I'm not sure. Let's see.
I had it like on my phone because I was gonna buy it, but I don't have good enough computers to really run it well. Like it's barely running Diablo 2 Resurrected.
June 6th.
Oh yeah, it's coming right up.
Yeah, so it will be like next week.
Yeah, it's like next week literally. Mm-hmm. That sucks because I don't have anything to play it on reasonably.
Yeah, that's fair.
I told my wife, I'm just like, we could have got a PlayStation instead of firearms. But I was talking to my mom about it, and she's like, I think you made the right choice to buy firearms rather than a new gaming system. And I'm like, but I kind of want a gaming system now.
Why play GTA when you can do GTA?
That's right.
Honestly,
That's
only thing really motivating me to get a PlayStation 5 is Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
And it's like, because I love the first one so much, but like
I've heard nothing but good things from the first one.
So Spider-Man and the Spider-Man Miles Morales game were both phenomenal, and like I was really hoping that they would put Spider-Man 2 on the PS4, and they were like, nope, we're putting it exclusively on the PS5. I think that's a shit business move, but the hell do I know?
Yeah, they're kind of phasing out
I-
PS4.
I can see why, because Sony's got to make the money and get everybody to buy the new system. But it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
dude, come on.
You know, it makes sense from a business standpoint, but that's how all gaming businesses do that.
Yeah.
Unless you're a manufacturer, or unless you're unless you're a studio that just produces games, like it doesn't really matter too much to you. But when it comes to them eventually coming out on the console or the PC or the Switch or the, name your device here, Xbox, whatever, like it makes sense that when the technology gets to the point where you can push the graphics better and tell better stories and like make the worlds bigger, that they would bump up and make a new console.
Yeah.
Although, how fast are they making consoles nowadays? I honestly have not been keeping track.
It's usually
Like 2 years?
No, it's usually the lifespan is usually every 4 or 5 years.
Are you sure?
Yeah. A lot of times, depending on like the brand, like Xbox and PlayStation tend to do this, and they'll release a pro version about halfway through the life of the current console. So usually like 2.5 to 3 years is when they'll release like a pro version, something that's a bit more upgraded, and then still like after
And they'll bump
5
up from
years,
like the 4 to the 5.
yeah, and then after 5 years they will usually start to bring in a new console. Usually it's the previous generation still will go for like a year or two, but like its general lifespan is that 4 to 5 year range, and then they start phasing things out.
Yeah.
See, I've had a PS4 since 2000, like 2015 actually. I believe.
Yeah,
'Cause I
think
remember-
PlayStation and I think and then the
PS4
Pro.
Pro.
The Pro
the
came
PS4.
out much later though.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking. Let's see.
Yeah, I remember I got the PS4 a couple of years after it came out and became a thing, just because I had the money and I could afford it at the time.
Yeah,
But-
PlayStation. I think PS4 and Xbox One have been like them and the Switch have been like some of the longest running consoles.
Yeah.
Just because. Yeah.
Is it because they
so-
just can't make it any better in that small box?
Sorta, it's hard to keep it at a consumer-friendly standpoint.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Like, they
because-
don't want it to be like
yeah, the
$8,000.
Yeah, because like technically the technology is there, and they could make it that small, but then it would be so much more expensive. Like it's more cost beneficial to just get like a computer,
Yeah.
and so it's meant to be more consumer-friendly, and so that's why they take so long, because the technology isn't there to be cheap yet,
Yeah.
and so that's
Yeah.
why they wait so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No, that makes sense.
to give them credit, visually the graphics on the PlayStation 5. I don't know much about the Xbox. I've always stuck to PlayStation, but like the graphics for the PlayStation, I remember they started upgrading pretty well just on the PS3, and they hit their limit, they moved to the PS4, and even then like they're still pushing the limit as hard as they can with their graphics. Like
Yeah.
freaking Unreal Engine 5, if you see like the concept games that they make for Mandalorian, Lord of the Rings, all these crazy games that potentially could come to PlayStation.
Yeah, and with like ray tracing and all these really fancy graphic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And PlayStation 5 has done an amazing job in like getting those graphics pushed.
And they have like 4K capabilities now with with PS5.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because I still haven't purchased a TV to get that 4K resolution or even a computer to monitor.
I love having 4K on my TV. I'm not gonna lie, it looks so nice.
Like eventually, I'm sure we'll upgrade. Like we're probably pushing the limits on our TV. Like I think that TV is. I think we got it like since like just shortly after we moved here. I think. So it's been about 5 going on 6 years.
I know
like
you guys have had that TV for a long time.
Yeah. Like we were having issues with the memory on it, which is interesting. Like it was like, sorry, you can't add any more apps on this. And I'm just like, what? And then of course, like, with Google and TikTok and stuff like that, you can like look stuff up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, you can just buy a couple of gig memory stick and you can put the apps on that. You just plug it into the USB. And I'm just like, what?
Oh, dude. I did that with my PlayStation just because, so with the PlayStation 4, it doesn't have a whole lot of space. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting a whole terabyte of data and was able to get like 10 more games downloaded onto my PlayStation. So
that's so strange. Like I still think back of like how when games were complete, like they were complete. Like there wasn't like you plug it in and you download all the updates to fix it. Like
yeah,
like
well, because most of the games that came out back in your day, a lot of them were like they weren't CDs, they were cartridges.
Yeah,
and they didn't have online data stored in the cloud.
And also, though, if it had bugs, like even like finished games sometimes still have bugs, they couldn't update it.
Nope.
So the internet kind of changed that where you could. So if they released it and it was mostly finished, if they had bugs, they could then fix them and then send out an update so everything goes. Yeah. And you couldn't do that with older consoles.
Yeah. Like nowadays you can get like DLC like companions and like or like updated chapters to stories and stuff like that, which is kind of cool, but also it seems like games don't ever get finished, it seems.
So what a lot of games do now is like, so New Game Plus is now a new thing.
New Game Plus? So
New Game Plus, for a lot of story-driven games and any games that you have to like do any kind of grinding on, basically it makes it so you can start a new game, but all the gear that you earned previously in the last game that you played transfers over into this new game. So like God of War Ragnarok came out in November of 22, and just this last, I think April, so a little over a month ago, they came out with an update that incorporated New Game Plus. So now God of War Ragnarok, you can replay the game and the story, and you have all your gear that you earned in the previous
with the new
before.
DLC or whatever.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think they have a DLC yet, but
so then I guess I don't know the difference between DLC and
it's
game,
just
game
additional.
Plus.
So a DLC is just additional content to the original game.
Okay.
I believe New Game Plus, from what Kai is describing, it's like from previous games, it transfers that data over. So if you're in like, I think a good example that I have seen.
So if you start a new game save, you could have the previous gear that you had from the previous game save.
You don't have to do you don't have to do all that grinding and stuff. You can
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
If you got like a really dope sword that you really like from the game and you want to replay a new game, you can start from the beginning with that sword that you earned.
Okay. Now I understand.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
So
don't know all this new agey stuff. Oh, you kids are playing these darn video games.
Yeah, there's so many new things. So my first question though is, what was the first console you guys ever played?
PlayStation.
Which one? The original?
No, actually, the first console I ever played was a GameCube.
Ooh, nice.
Now that I think about it, the first console was a GameCube. I think as a kid, I grew up around, like never at my house, but whenever I went over to somebody else's house, they always either had a GameCube, an Xbox 360, or no, just an Xbox, a GameCube, an Xbox, or a PlayStation 2.
Okay.
So those were like the big three that I grew up around. And I remember like one of the very first games that I played on the PlayStation was like the OG Ratchet and Clank. Jack and Daxter. I think on the GameCube.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, for real. I think on the GameCube, one of the first games that I played was Super Monkey Ball.
Super Monkey Ball.
Those games are so wild.
Super Monkey Ball. That's funny.
Super Monkey Ball. Donkey Kong. That was a big one.
That's a good one.
Super Smash for the GameCube.
Smash,
obviously. Yeah.
Sure, they had a Zelda game, right?
Yeah, I think I don't remember which one I played on the GameCube, but I did play Zelda.
Some Zelda game, I'm sure, on GameCube.
Yeah.
For me, sorry.
No,
Oh, okay. I was just jumping in because I thought you were done. So.
You go.
Cool.
You're good.
So the first console I ever played on was obviously Pong.
Ooh.
Up from
the
that,
hell is that?
An Atari?
So
or was that Pong separately?
Yeah, so Pong
Gotcha.
was like a standalone
Yeah.
like gaming system that just had the one game. It basically had a ball that would go across the screen, back and forth. It was kind of like tennis. So you had two paddles, right? And you turn the paddles. Like it wasn't a joystick. They were just like rotating knobs. And basically where you rotate the knob would make you go up and down the screen. So when the ball come to your side, you'd have to move it up to hit the ball back and so on and so forth. And as the times you hit the ball increases, the speed increases.
You know what this reminds me of is just a pinball machine.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of, yeah. So that was like the very, very first one I ever was introduced to. And I think I played it on a black and white, like old TV.
You're so old.
But it wasn't like, it was like at a friend's house or something. Like somebody was just like, hey, this is the first thing. But then they introduced me to the Atari, the 2600 console. So the first like games other than that was like Pac-Man, Pitfall, E.T., or no, I think E.T. was Super.
E.T. was on
No,
Atari.
E.T. was Nintendo, I thought. No, it was Atari.
It was on
wasn't
Atari.
It? Yeah, it was on Atari.
It's notorious for being like the worst game
Oh, it's
ever
terrible.
made.
Nobody knew what to do with it. Like it was just like, what is happening right now? So there was games like that. But I really enjoyed Pitfall, trying to swing on the ropes to try to get over the alligators. That and Frogger. Frogger was my jam. Trying to get away from the cars and try to cross the street all the way across in order to win. Those were my first consoles. And I think after that was the Nintendo.
Okay.
So I think Dunk Hunt was the first one. I was just like, what? It's not even a controller, it's a gun? Thought that was the coolest thing ever.
I love it.
What about you?
Classics. I'm trying to remember. I think my first ones that I played, they were kind of like Pong, just single plug and play kind of games. So it was just like a joystick and a couple buttons, and it was just designed for one game. And I think it was Pac-Man and Space Invaders because my grandparents had them. And so they would have them plugged into their TV upstairs, and anytime we went over, we would play them. But I think the first one I remember playing that my immediate family owned was the Wii.
Same.
We apparently had an original PlayStation, but I never played that until I was older because I had just found it in like a box in one of our closets, and I was like, I want to play this. And so I set it up and played that. But Wii was mainly my childhood for video games. But those first two, the Pac-Man and Space Invaders plug and plays, played a lot of that at my grandparents' house because it was great.
I think now that I think about it, so the Wii was the first console. Actually, no. The first console that I ever owned as a kid was the Game Boy SP, the one that is like it's a square that you open up.
Yeah.
That little
One of my friends
shell.
had one.
That was the first one that I ever owned. But the first one, like the real console that you would hook up to your TV, which I had wanted for so long, and my parents were always super against video games. But they were like
most parents are.
Yeah, they're gonna rot your brain.
They were like, you know what? No, let's get a Wii, because with the Wii, at least we can play as a family. Which I think
that's dope.
That's pretty much what the Wii was designed for. I think it was to introduce families to
game consoles.
Yeah, because it is super active, like freaking Wii Sports.
Yeah,
so fun.
Wii Sports, Wii Fitness.
Yeah, I think I remember like the first story-driven game that I ever played on the Wii was Twilight Princess: Legend of Zelda.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually, excuse me, I think that's one of the very first Zelda games that I ever played. Was Twilight Princess.
Noise.
So good.
My family, we had for the Wii. It's not the game we played the most, but it's probably the most memorable just because it was hilarious. It was called Outdoor Challenge. So you would plug in like this like fabric sort of mat that had almost, it looked like a Dance Dance Revolution kind of thing.
Oh, it was like before.
Yeah. And so you would plug that in, and then you had to do different like activities where there was like snowboarding or like kayaking, and you'd have to use the mat to
That's
do it. And it
awesome.
was hilarious. We eventually got so good at cheating the system and not actually having to stand on it and just using your hands and pressing everything.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
so that was hilarious. But on the topic of games, what's your favorite game of all time?
Do we have to just do one?
No, you can do several.
Okay. I have to pick like 5, I think. All for different reasons.
That's a good question. Just because, like the one console that my family had was we had the SNES. The Super NES was the first one that we had.
The SNES.
The SNES.
That's what I always
Like
called
we
it.
skipped the NES. We wanted NES so bad, but then when the SNES came out, we're just like, oh, it would be so cool if we got the newest console, the SNES.
Yes.
And we were too poor to get it, but it was gifted to us from
Oh, that's cool.
some people from a what do they call Secret Santa
Mhm.
families, where basically poor families get to be picked by a rich family to give them a bunch of gifts.
You're like
Why
a-
am I laughing?
You're like a Make-A-Wish kid.
Yeah, we were kind of a Make-A-Wish family. My mother was single at the time, and
Mhm.
she was working 3, 4, 5 jobs, like working every single day, and we were babysat a lot. During that time, it was rough, but yeah, it was really nice that they were kind enough to
Mhm.
give us poor kids a Nintendo. But goodness, that's a good question. I don't know. Like for the SNES, probably Firefox.
Mhm.
That was such a fun game.
Firefox, or was it Star Fox?
Star Fox, Firefox, Star Fox.
I was like-
Firefox.
I
is
was
the-
like,
that's a
I don't know
browser?
if that's
I was
a
like-
thing.
Firefox a browser, bro? Come on, what are you talking about, Jacob?
Star Fox for
It's like you
the
had
I'm
the-
drunk.
You had
No,
the
it's
internet back then?
Star Fox for the Switch came out a couple of years ago, and
Mhm.
definitely wasn't it. I like the game a lot, but I don't like it as much as I like the Star Fox from like the GameCube.
Mhm.
That game was super fun, but yeah.
Yeah, we completely skipped the GameCube. I don't think we had a GameCube.
Yeah,
I think
my
we
family never did.
stuck with. I think we had. So I think we had the SNES. Then we went to Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ocarina of Time. That was such a great game. Of
Mhm.
course,
So-
I was terrible at it. I had to watch my brother do it because he was so much better at it than me.
It's hard because I feel like I need to have a favorite game for every genre and every purpose.
Yeah,
Because like
like movies.
yeah, pretty much. So like
Makes sense.
if I'm gonna pick a story-driven game, I'm gonna cop out and I have to tie this
Mhm.
because I can't not have either one be in a favorite. So, The Last of Us.
Yeah, I was expecting that one.
The Last of Us ties with God of War Ragnarok.
Okay.
And I think the reason for that is because, when The Last of Us came out, it was so pivotal
Mhm.
into
Mhm.
gaming. It it paved the way for a lot of those story-driven
Mhm.
video
Yeah.
games and like those
Yeah.
linear storytelling. Like there wouldn't be a God of War without The Last of Us.
Mhm.
But God of War Ragnarok, I'm such a Norse mythology nerd.
Yeah,
Like
That
I know
makes sense.
I know so much about that shit. Like
'Cause it's so cool.
it's cool. It's also my heritage. So I like to use that excuse a lot.
Mhm.
But no, God of War Ragnarok is like one of the most. It's one of the most amazing stories and most amazing story-driven video games I have ever played.
Mhm.
It's got the perfect balance of like epic and like emotional and just there's no there's no way for me to describe it. It's just so much, dude. So those two definitely have to tie together. But if I'm playing like a multiplayer video game amongst a group of friends, like coming over to my house to play video games together, Super Smash.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so fun.
Like, yeah, and honestly, I would go with any of them. Like Super Smash for the GameCube,
Mhm.
Super Smash Brawl on the Wii, Ultimate on the Switch, any of them. Just any type of fighting game like that, like Super Smash is definitely up there.
Yeah.
I destroy friendships with that game. I pick,
Same.
I pick one character, I pick one move, and I do that move over and over until everyone's so annoyed.
It's me
It's
with
one of those
the
games that you could do
Sonic,
that
yeah.
with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like Mario Party. You just destroy.
Oh,
the friendship.
Yeah.
Mario Party is so much fun. It was the 64 was probably my favorite. Like Mario Party.
Yeah.
For the 64 was my favorite.
The Titanfall 2 is my favorite like online multiplayer game.
I forgot about the Titanfall games. Those were good.
That game got so like shoved under the rug because it came out at the same time as Battlefield 4, I think.
Yeah.
And one of the Call of Duties.
Mm-hmm.
So all these first-person shooter games were coming out, and Titanfall just got so shoved under the rug.
I like
but
Titanfall.
it's so much fun and so underrated. I don't know how those servers aren't busy. Like,
oh yeah,
I
think that's one of the few. I think that was one of my first like online like games that I ever played.
So much fun.
Titanfall.
Yeah. No, it's like the parkour with the first person shooting.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna work, but it worked really, really well. Like everyone gives Apex Legends all the shit with that flow.
Mm-hmm.
Titanfall 2 does it way better. And I don't know how it's not as busy as it is, as busy as it should be. So
I think for multiplayer, one of the games that really stuck out to me was for, I don't know if it was for Xbox or Xbox 360 for the one that got really big, but Halo.
Halo's solid. Yeah.
Halo is a very solid game from Xbox. We used to play that. We didn't really have too many LAN parties, but every once in a while I'd go over to my buddy's house and he would set up like 2 or 3 or 4 different TVs with Xbox. They'd bring their big box TVs over. I was just like, you guys are so silly.
Yeah.
But again, like we used to LAN up like computers to play like Diablo and Dark Age of Camelot, World of Warcraft, like stuff like that. So
grinding. I have to include grinding. Breath of the Wild right now is my favorite game to like grind if I just want to like play a mindless shit for hours.
I was so confused what you meant by grinding there for a second. I was like, what?
Sorry. But I think Tears of the Kingdom may surpass it. I have to finish Tears of the Kingdom first, which might take me like the next year. But
those games are just massive.
Okay, so the thing is like
they need to stop making them so vast. Like they need to make games where you can play it like for maybe a month or 2, maybe 3 months max, and then you go on to the next game. Like I feel like playing a game, and this is coming from somebody who solely like loyally plays Diablo 2 Resurrected. like I've been playing it since almost a year that it was out. There's been like 4 like ladder seasons, and I've only played non-ladder. I don't know. But anyways, I would like to play more games that would you play through it once and you're done and you move on to the next game. Like kind of like Last of Us, kind of like Ragnarok. Like I'm kind of done like with the grindy games, honestly. Like they're getting to the point where it's just too much.
See,
fair.
I just like how so honestly, Tears of the Kingdom may surpass Breath of the Wild, and here's why. So with Tears of the Kingdom, it's the same map as Breath of the Wild, but they've expanded it to like different levels. So you not only have like the main map and the main portion of the game, you also have the sky map to explore, and then you have like the depths and like the underworld to explore. So it has 2 extra maps, and they've expanded on it. And I think there's also some lore that connects it to some of the previous games, which Zelda, the Legend of Zelda doesn't do that often. But this, I think Tears of the Kingdom is actually supposed to be the prequel for Skyward Sword. Just the way that it's being set up and the legends that they're going through, I'm like, this seems familiar.
You're like,
so
wait a minute.
Yeah. So I hope I'm right. If I am right, then it probably will end up being one of my favorite games, because I love when studios can use that creativity to connect franchises like that. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Sorry, I'm like
going
off on these.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to think like games like
For you,
throughout
it's just
throughout the years that have like really stuck out to me.
Diablo was your shit, dude.
Gradius 3 was pretty good for the SNES. It's that side scroller where the screen continues to scroll, and so you basically you can move all across and everything, but like different terrains come up, and then like it's kind of like a little bit like Space Invaders, but as you shoot stuff, like you get power-ups and options, which change the way that your ship shoots different things.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember the game that was kind of similar to it, but it was like it kind of seemed like an old like World War like II game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of similar to that, but it's in space. And so you have like aliens and stuff you gotta kill as bosses, which was a lot of fun. That game really stuck out to me. Mario RPG was a pretty big deal
I don't think
on
I
the
ever
Super
played that
NES. I would love to honestly buy a Super Nintendo just to buy that game so I could relive that one more time.
Pawn shop.
I know.
one. Bruh, that's me with the DS. Because that was the console that I had for myself. It was the one I owned in my family because I had gotten a DSi, like a bright orange DSi with Mario Party for my birthday one year. And I got this game. It was called Fossil Fighters. So it was dinosaurs, but it was basically Pokemon, but instead of just little monsters, you would dig up dinosaurs and then fight them. And
that sounds fun.
It was awesome.
So basically, you would save them and then you would fight the dinosaurs.
Yeah, so you would bring them back to life, and then you're like, okay, now let's make them fight each other. And it was my jam. I really want to get a DS or like one of the 3 DSs, so that I can get that game and replay it. Because I played it on like an emulator on my computer.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
I'm like, I want to be able to have the console again just to play that.
And depending on the ROM, like it could be pretty decent or it could be really garbage.
You just called it
For sure.
ROM?
Yeah, you don't remember ROMs? They like this was back in the day
You're not talking about
when they
RAM,
were
are you?
ripping
No.
when they were ripping games like from the actual game onto PC, and then they would have emulators. And so basically they had like a Super Nintendo emulator, but then you have different ROMs or like cartridges that you do, but they were the programs that you'd put into that and you could play them from the PC. But
That's
a lot
cool.
of times they were really bad.
Yeah.
So depending on the
paper,
creator,
it sounds really cool.
it is because like it was like the freaks and the geeks of the hackers and crackers that would go through that and get all the technology and figure out how to get it from the cartridge to the PC and then figure out how to play it through the emulator. It was like it was such an interesting time.
So essentially how like a lot of consoles now have like a virtual console where you can play older games, like how Nintendo has, like the Switch has the NES and the SNES and the 64 now.
Yeah.
That's essentially how they work, is just using an emulator and playing ROMs. But because it's Nintendo, they have the pure file of the ROM, and so it's way better than if it's just pirated elsewhere.
Yeah, I will say that is definitely true for the Switch. Like when I got the free like NES and SNES like
With
party
Switch
packs
Online.
or Switch Online or whatever. Yeah, like those ROMs, like they play pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think you can actually even get controllers that are very similar to those consoles, and so you could actually link them to there and wirelessly play.
I have a GameCube controller for the Switch.
Yep.
That's crazy.
You can get like
crazy.
you can get a 64 controller for it too. It's friggin' sick.
The N64 controllers were so whack.
They were so
were.
dumb. They were the worst controller.
But they were like, you can do it, so you can play the 64 games now.
Well, the GameCube ones, like, let's be honest, those are also questionable.
I like the way that the GameCube
I think
controls.
their layout was pretty standard. They were just really clunky.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's not, with most controllers now. It's like you got the 2 thumbsticks near the middle, and then you have the like the D-pad obviously, and then usually A, Y, X, B. It's all in a plus,
Yeah.
or in a diamond, I guess.
Yeah.
But with the GameCube, it was like just it's not lined up at all.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, probably the most comfortable controller I've ever owned was the Switch Pro controller.
The Switch Pro, I think
that is
I like
a wildly good controller for whatever reason.
Yeah, actually me too. because it's as smooth, I think, as a PlayStation controller,
Mm-hmm.
but the layout is the same as an Xbox controller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
I think
similar.
that's actually what gets me.
Yeah, and
So-
the way that it sits in your hands, it fits very comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Where like you don't have like wrists, like like wrist cramps
Yeah.
and stuff. Like coming from an old
Yep.
guy that plays games occasionally.
He's like,
It
I got
makes the
arthritis.
most
I got
sense.
arthritis in my wrists.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Mario 64 is like the one that comes, or no, Mario RPG on the SNES. But yeah, of course, Ocarina of Time, Mario 60 or Mario
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time
Yeah.
for the Nintendo 64 was a really big deal. Star Fox on the 64 was a pretty big deal. We didn't really play Mario. Oh, Turok. Turok was a very similar fighting game to like Killer Instinct. I don't know if you guys remember that game.
Mm-mm. I've
But-
heard of Turok. I don't actually know much about it.
Or maybe that's the dinosaur like survival game. I don't remember. It's been a while. Turok for the
Yeah,
Nintendo
that's the-
64.
Yeah, that's the dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur game of some sort.
Ark.
Bruh, I love Ark.
Ark cracks
It's-
me up, dude. That game
it's-
is so funny.
It's so broken half the time, but it's
Yeah.
awesome.
For real. I love all. There's so many memes that come out of Ark. It's so funny. I mean, I guess it's the same with GTA
Look
5.
at those beautiful graphics.
It's rough.
Oh,
Those painted polygons look beautiful.
Realistic.
Let's
That's
go.
something that's
Oh,
so
GoldenEye. I
fascinating.
forgot about GoldenEye.
oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. GoldenEye was a
GoldenEye
classic.
007 was a classic with Pierce Bronson on the front and whatever that hot chick's name is.
Heck if I know.
Sorry, hot chick.
Sorry, Hachi.
Sorry for that time for a young boy. We're just like, damn.
I love looking at old graphics. They just kind of crack me up.
I know,
Aren't they
same.
amazing? Like how far we've come?
Oh, for real.
Like seriously.
I remember, I think, what was it? I think I had seen something. So they had compared the Super Mario 64 like Mario model that only had like maybe 100 polygons,
Mhm.
and then they compared it to like Super Mario Odyssey, which has like a couple million.
Yeah.
Like it's so vastly
It's
improved.
such a big difference. The polygonal count makes a huge difference
Yeah.
for high quality graphics.
But it's so interesting. It's cool to
is.
see how things have come.
It really is.
And then something that's kind of interesting is all these franchises that keep getting like renewed. Like every Nintendo console has to bring out Mario, or you have PlayStation, you're going to bring out any classic characters like Kratos, or you're going to have Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank. You're going to bring back
Some Final
those-
Fantasy game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to bring back that classic kind of stuff.
Legend of Zelda.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you guys have any franchise that you wish would come back to current consoles that they don't now?
Oh, so
Go ahead.
I'm like trying to decide here because
Mm-hmm.
I think immediately the first game that came to mind, because I remember when I bought the PlayStation 3 with my own money when I was like 13, 14. I had saved up enough money to get one, and Infamous was one of the first games that I had ever got, and it was it was a part 1 and a part 2, and they left it at that, and eventually they did a couple of side games with taking place in other locations in the United States. It was a really cool universe. It was like a potential new video game superhero type of universe, and would have been really cool. But I wish they would keep doing those games. Like they kind of stopped doing them after 2013, I think, because the last couple of games that came out were just not. They weren't that successful because the stories were shit. No offense, but like
They were like, we're done.
they weren't great.
You're done.
The writing just wasn't great.
China.
They were meant to be story-driven games, and they just weren't that great. But like, the gameplay was super fun. But I wish they would bring that franchise back because it had the potential to be really, really awesome. So, yeah, I think that's the first one that comes to mind.
Are there any? Do they bring out any more 007 games?
Ooh, I don't think so. I think that's
I wonder if that kind of died with Pierce Brosnan being replaced by
I think a lot of
for the James Bond games.
those games, like the James Bond story-driven games, are just being replaced by like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like that's being
or like Hitman or something.
yeah,
that.
like those are the new classics for like kids later today when they're our age. They're going to be talking about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Like,
well, I tell you what, when they start putting oh crap, what's his name? I can see his face. Why can't I put his name to his face? Deadpool.
oh yeah, oh dude,
I love the
became-
Deadpool game.
If he became 007, I think it'd be really cool to reboot the 007
Ryan
franchise.
Reynolds
Reynolds as James Bond.
I want Henry Cavill as Ryan Reynolds. What am I saying?
Henry
I want
Cavill, Ryan Reynolds.
I'm sorry, I'm mixing my stuff up here. Henry Cavill as 007. There we go.
Ooh, I think that could be a good one.
That could be good too.
You guys saw in the
could be good,
Mission
too.
Impossible.
Oh yeah,
Oh my god.
that would be a good casting. I like
Yeah.
that one.
yeah.
it would be.
But
so
I like
awesome.
Henry Cavill just in general. He just seems like a really
And he's like a
decent
huge,
guy.
He's
a
a huge
nerd.
nerd.
He's a nerd.
He plays World of
love it.
Warcraft.
Freaking
and
Warhammer is his
Warhammer is his new new
Um,
show that's coming out on Amazon at some
Yeah.
point. So that's
Oh,
going to be interesting.
Shit, what was I gonna say?
I would love to see a new Mario RPG series.
Okay.
I would love for them to bring that back.
They kind of did that
Nintendo.
with. They kind of tried doing that with Super Mario Odyssey, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's definitely one of those grinding. I think it's one of those games that you only play once and then that's it. But
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, Final Fantasy VII always sticks out to me from the PS1 days.
the Final Fantasy games are pretty solid. Yeah.
Like, I remember when it first came out for the PS1, it had like 7 or 8 discs, I think, originally. Bruh. Like, seriously. Like, and that was the day where they couldn't put so much information on because they were CD-ROMs at that time. So it had enough data to put on there as music. So they couldn't make the games too big.
Yeah.
And if they were too big, they literally had to put the game
In several.
on separate discs for like CD disc, CD-ROM. Of course, we don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like we're really pushing hard for this whole this cloud thing. Like, all the games are now on the cloud. Like, I never bought a physical Diablo 2 Resurrected package.
Mm-hmm.
I just go up on the Battle.net application, purchase it, download it, and I play it.
Or like computer games, you used to actually use like a CD-ROM.
Yeah.
You don't do that anymore.
Nope. And in fact, the new PC I bought doesn't even have a CD-ROM.
Nope. It's very rare.
That's pretty rare.
For a PC to have a CD player now.
Bro, it feels like it was yesterday. We were clapping back at like the Blu-ray player burners.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we were so excited about the Blu-ray player burners. And it was like only a few years after that, they were just like, yeah, you don't have to do that anymore. It's all in the cloud now.
We're
You
just going to make everything digital.
just everything digital. You just download the app and you just purchase it, and then you can just stream it from the app.
Yep.
And then, of course, have all the the legal issues. Like, well, do you own that
No.
licensing, or do you own that copy? Like, what happens? What happens when Fandango, or is it Fandango? No, what's the Walmart app called?
Walmart app.
No, is it called like? Is it Tubu or is it Fubu?
Tubi? Is that what you're thinking of?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Voodoo. It's Voodoo, right?
Oh,
That's the Walmart
movie.
app.
The movie one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, what
Voodoo.
happens when Voodoo goes under? Like, tomorrow. Like, all your
they're-
movies are gone, right?
They're linked to other things. So like mine is linked to Google as well. So I have all those movies on Google. I think on Amazon. It's linked to like a bunch of different things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's all in the same company, obviously.
Yeah, so it's linked. What is it called? I think Movies Anywhere is what it's called, which is like a big thing that is connected to a whole bunch of different.
So it's like buying
services.
chicken at the store. It's all the same company, just different packaging and different names.
Essentially.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking hate it's the whole illusion of choice.
Yeah.
Like, nowadays, it's like you don't really get to choose anymore. It's like when the whole whole boycott. Well, we won't get too much.
I was going to say we're getting away from
remember,
video games
but
now.
remember the boycott that happened with Bud Light, right?
Oh.
So, but how many different companies are owned by that company, Anheuser-Busch?
So many.
Like 10 different beers. So it's like, okay, well, if you boycott one, you have to boycott all of them because they're all under the same umbrella company. But anyways, I digress.
Most beer tastes the same anyway.
That's so true.
Just don't
like
drink
all
beer.
the Utah IPs, like they seriously taste the same.
I think the only ones that are like kind of unique and have a different taste to them are like Mango Cart, obviously because it's a craft beer.
Oh, okay.
And like Sam Adams actually doesn't taste like most beers. I
That's
think anyway.
true.
Sorry, we're getting like way off topic here.
No, we're good.
I really enjoy the
Video games and beer.
Video games and beer.
What beer do I
Blue
buy?
Moon.
Blue Moon.
Yep, Blue Moon.
I really like Blue Moon. Like definitely tastes different. I really like the stuff that Talisman makes out in Ogden. Shout out to Talisman.
I've heard they have good stuff.
They do. Their Hefeweizen
I don't like beer, but I've heard they
creations.
have good stuff.
Their creation's really tasty. Like it really is tasty.
Corona's good.
Yeah, Corona's pretty
You can
good.
have whatever you want as
Corona's
long as
pretty
it's a
good.
Corona.
I don't mind a Coors.
It's all about family.
It's all about family. Speaking of which, Fast and the Furious
No.
Fast
25 is coming out soon.
Fast 10 just came
Fast
out.
10, that's right.
Fast
Part-
10, your
which-
seatbelts.
which is part 1 of like part 3, I think.
They're doing a septology.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie in
They're
my entire
doing-
life.
They're
doing
so
a
stupid,
Penta release.
but it's like a hilarious stupid. Like that's what you watch them for. You watch them and you're like, yeah, this is the dumbest
Yeah.
thing ever. I love it.
So this is why,
even
like,
the first one was just okay.
It was a racing movie.
like it was,
That's
it
what
was.
it was.
It was a racing.
They're
movie.
not racing movies anymore.
but it was actually okay. Like
yeah.
and growing up around the people that I grew up with, like they were like, "Oh, Fast and Furious was such a great movie," and I was like, "It was okay. I mean, it was good. Like I don't know if I'd consider it great or the greatest,
Nah.
but it was good enough." And I'm like, "Okay, I'd probably see a second one." I literally saw like the first 20 or 30 minutes of the second one, and I think I walked out of the movie theater. It was so bad. And I was just like, yeah, nothing like the first one. Like it wasn't story driven, and it was just a bunch of nonsense and like a lot of different action sequences that don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I have a hard time with like the Hobbit films that came out
Oh yeah.
6
CGI
years
mess.
ago or whatever. Like it was good, but it wasn't great. Like they really
It wasn't Lord of the Rings.
It wasn't Lord of the Rings because because my wife and I are just rewatching them just recently. Like I was just like, why are they so different? And it is done by Peter Jackson, right?
Mhm.
Peter Jackson's hand to hand in a lot of these things. I don't think he did a ton of the stuff in the Hobbit films, but he did like everything in Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
And I think that the consistency was off, number one, because they didn't shoot everything in a year for all 3 films, right? And the second thing is they didn't use practical.
Nah, it's a CGI nightmare.
It was all CGI, and it looked terrible. Like you got Legolas like flying upside down, like fighting people, like hanging from a flying whatever demon thing, and I'm just like the barrel scene where they're going down the river, really bad. Like there's just so many bad scenes in it.
A lot of the actors had to film alone just on a green screen. I can't remember his name. The guy who plays Gandalf had like a breakdown because he was just by himself acting. He
Yeah.
wasn't actually acting. He was just like talking to like tennis balls.
Yeah.
And it got to him. And I was like, oh, I couldn't imagine.
I can imagine. Like seriously, like how are you supposed to act when you don't have anybody to react to, and you're supposed to be reacting to something? Anyways, we're getting off from the.
I was about to say,
video
like,
games.
we
I
need
apologize.
to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's get back. Let's get
Bryson
back to
has
the topics
more.
at hand.
Bryson has more questions
Yeah.
for us.
So, with a lot of video games, we've seen lately a lot of video game adaptations. Because we've got The Last of Us, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Uncharted, Sonic, Mortal Kombat. We just had like Tetris as a film.
Oh yeah, it was really good.
Which I've heard was super good. I need to watch it.
It was
I haven't
really
seen
good.
it.
And then apparently they have a Gran Turismo movie that's coming out. which is like a racing one that's apparently based off like a true story. So I'm interested, what are your guys' favorite video game movie adaptations?
Ooh.
The Last of Us is definitely my favorite like show adaptation.
Yeah.
Just because, Pedro Pascal.
My boy.
I've definitely had to warm up to Bella Ramsey as Ellie, just because I knew who the original casting was supposed to be for Ellie, and I think that casting would have been way better. But that's also the bias in me, speaking for the video game. But you know what? So the Uncharted movie gets so much hate, and
it actually wasn't bad.
It wasn't like the video game at all. I'm okay with that. I thought that just as a movie in general, it was a fun movie and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I would probably put it between like just below average to average. Like I don't think it was a super great movie, but I do really enjoy what's his name?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
So
Got
Did I
Tom
really
Holland
enjoy
and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
the video games,
It wasn't bad.
Naughty Dog retired those video games after Uncharted 4. One of the greatest story-driven games I've ever played. But it's like that national treasure vibe, but in like Indiana Jones, but much more gritty. And those games are so good, so good. But and Uncharted was much more lighthearted. Oh, dude, the Sonic movie. I actually enjoyed the first Sonic movie.
Yeah.
The second Sonic movie was okay. I didn't enjoy it as much, but
The first one's good.
first one is
I
really
like the
good.
first.
I'll have to
Sonic.
watch it.
It's not amazing, but
Jim Carrey
I enjoyed it.
carries.
He carries.
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
He carries.
As Eggman.
For real.
Oh, he puts his heart and soul into Eggman. It's so funny.
Yeah, you can tell he's like, yeah, I'm old and I'm tired of this, but I'm gonna have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Since I'm here. So
I love that.
Because it's like Willem Dafoe playing Green Goblin. They're just having the most fun
yeah.
they can.
That's a good yeah. William Dafoe as Green Goblin was but he would have been a sinister Joker.
maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Well, I mean, he's up there in years. I don't know if he's
Man can dream.
man can dream. That is true.
Um,
Maybe he could be like an old, decrepit like Joker. When
Yeah,
Batman
I think
and
for a
Joker
show-
are old and
I think for a show, The Last of Us is definitely my favorite too. Because I've only seen gameplay. I haven't actually played the game myself, but I think that one is really good. And I think it's very faithful to the game, and I like that it still kind of makes its changes for the screen, but still keeps it very much the source material. And then I really liked the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
I still need to see that.
I'm not gonna lie, it was great. It's so ridiculous.
I've heard nothing but good things.
Oh yeah,
about.
it's like the third highest grossing animated movie of all time, followed by Frozen and Frozen 2. Yeah.
Frozen 2. Oh, that's awesome.
Now I really wish I did go see it just so I could push those numbers up.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was good. I liked the Mario movie. It's very fun. It targets
I'm
so
trying
many
to
areas.
think. I'm trying to think of other games that
So
were adapted to films that were actually pretty decent.
I never saw the Mortal Kombat movie. I actually didn't get into Mortal Kombat until this year.
The old ones are whack. The new
Hey,
one.
I liked the old one.
Wait, we're talking about the movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the film.
Yeah, so the new Mortal Kombat I really liked.
The newest one was actually pretty decent.
Where
I'm
can
not
one
gonna
watch the newest Mortal Kombat?
I believe it's on HBO still.
Yeah, HBO.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
Um,
I think the old ones are on there too, but
yeah.
I think because they're just very cheesy. And
I think I saw the Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider movie.
I liked the new one. I'm not even gonna lie.
I don't remember it. If I did watch it, I don't remember it.
That's fair.
The Resident Evil ones with Mila Jovovich were okay. They weren't incredibly good.
They had a show.
The
on
first one
Netflix
was actually pretty.
this last year.
It was.
I
don't even
liked
want-
it.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
I disagree.
Okay.
But that's okay. I'm trying to think. I thought there was a couple of really decent ones that that were good, but I can't remember.
It's because most video game adaptations that come out are not good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, like seriously, like the one that came out. What was the one? Was that with The Rock? Was that Doom?
they made a Doom movie?
Yeah. It was terrible.
I did not know
there's
that.
a whole like sequence where the scene switches to a first person like, and like it's like you're watching like you're in the video game. It was like really bad. Now, although I'm not like a huge Halo fan when it comes to like the storyline, the Halo series that came out, was it Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
There was actually a lot of things I really liked about it, but there were some things that just I can see from the gaming perspective and the story perspective that was really bad, and it was not adapted well. So I understand why it didn't do well, but I think the overall look of it looked pretty decent. I think the majority of the characters were pretty good. I think the storytelling was okay, but it just didn't hit like it could have. I think that could have been a really big hit, and it didn't. And I was kind of sad because I was kind of hoping that a Halo series would have been a pretty bomb.
Yeah. Dude, you know what I always forget about? They tried to make an Assassin's Creed movie.
They
No,
did.
they did
with
several.
Michael Fassbender.
No, they did a couple, didn't they?
No, they just did one.
They just did one?
And it was so shitty. I will say
They planned to do several, but they only did one.
yeah, and it's
Oh.
there's way too much lore behind
yeah.
the Assassin's Creed universe. In like let's be real. Most people who play the games come for the history of it. When it comes to like the modern day stuff and the like the connections, like okay, what I like that the Assassin's Creed games do is they connect a lot of their society to historical moments.
Yeah.
Like, so for example, the death of Julius Caesar was caused by the assassins. Like, that stuff is cool.
Being able to fit like context that we actually know into like a fictional world.
Yeah, like weaving, like connecting every piece of history coming back to this society of assassins and like this secret war that's going on behind the scenes in a government that we're not aware of. That stuff was really cool. But like all the modern day stuff, you don't need it. You really don't. So
It's valid. If we had, like, if you could pick an adaptation of something, what would you want?
God of War.
That's a good one.
I forgot about this one. So it's technically a film, but it was all animated. The Final Fantasy film that came from Japan
I don't know.
was really good. Like surprisingly good.
I'm actually going to reverse this question, Bryson.
Okay.
I want an Avatar: The Last Airbender video game series.
That'd be cool.
Like, could you imagine
done right?
Like, could you imagine an RPG where you could choose one of the 4 elements to go with?
Actually, be so sick.
Like, even if so the Avatar series has it has a lot of lore that not a lot of people know about. Like, if you go back, like the Dawn of Yang Chen, the books, the Kiyoshi books, I'm pretty sure there's another
unlicensed
probably
copy.
That's probably what you're thinking.
Because they said something about Avatar, but I'm like, this doesn't look like Avatar, but it kind of does. I could be wrong, guys.
Are you talking
I'm
about
sorry.
Kung Fu Saga? This?
Yes, that is it.
Kung Fu Saga.
Kung Fu
Kung
Saga.
Fu Saga.
That's so sad. They couldn't get the rights, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and it's like, this is just the same shit.
This is Ong. Just kidding.
That is.
I know it's
funny.
Aang. I'm just kidding. Oh, now I want to rewatch Last Airbender. That was such a solid
I've seen that show.
children's cartoon.
I've seen that show more. Don't call it a children's cartoon. I watch it as an adult.
That's okay. That's what anime is. It's children's cartoons.
Not all of them.
Well, okay, you're right.
I was
There are
like,
some
there's
that
a
are
lot of anime that's
definitely
very
not.
There's so Legend of Korra is definitely meant for adults, but
I really
Yeah.
liked
Well-
Legend of Korra. I thought that was pretty solid.
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't think it was as good as Last Airbender, but for a follow-up
Well,
series, it was pretty good.
You have to look at them completely separate
because it's so far after
Yeah.
after his life. After him,
I will say Aang is the character that I will always love. Korra, I don't really care for her character all that much.
Fair.
I like the show. I really like the show a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna pick a character that I'm gonna absolutely die for on that show, it's gonna be Tenzin.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, the thing that I think I really liked about Aang's character is he was so dynamic. Like he could be very lighthearted and fun. He could be very broody and like focused. He could be very angry. Like it was there was definitely a lot of levels and dimensions to his character, and I think that's why Korra didn't do so well because her character was very one or two dimensions. Like it wasn't there wasn't really much going for her character, unfortunately.
The thing is with Aang is like he kind of broke a lot of the stereotypes for like typical like main hero characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like obviously we don't know much about his parents and his family because his family was the nomads, the air nomads. So I mean, like I guess that there is a stereotype that like his entire family died. So,
That's a very
but it's much more
common trope.
It's much more extensive with him. It's genocide. His entire culture is.
Yeah.
But instead of having like a very strong masculine man with a six pack and he was super built,
it was a weak little child.
Yeah, that was
not a weak little child.
That's true. Just like a
mentally and emotionally very intelligent and just a very strong, but he shows people that you don't have to be physically strong to be
a winner.
A winner. Like a hippie vegan little boy.
It's truly a mystery why you love him.
Pacifist.
I eat apples. Sorry.
I've never heard you make that voice before.
Well, it's very interesting.
Anyways.
Yeah, Kai, I do like that you flipped that question because that was one of my later questions is what would you want a video game of?
Oh, hands down, number one. Yeah, probably.
Freaking
that would be a
Avatar.
Last
perfect
Airbender
game.
Avatar.
Yeah. And he,
not produced by M. Night Shyamalan.
It would have to be produced or like at least consulted by the writers.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like it would take so long too to make it. You'd want to take a real good time to make it, especially if you want to like nail all the aspects of like the bending elements and to like make it work well and not just like be cutting mid animations to something else.
Like I want the gameplay for every bender to feel different.
Yes.
Like
Fair enough.
I wouldn't want the same type of flow for like it. Like if I'm going to be an airbender, I want to be able to feel like I can float through the air, and if I'm a waterbender, then I want to feel like I can go surfing whenever the hell I want.
Yeah.
So, like,
Fair enough. Like that. Yeah, that would be a sick game. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'd do it. I'd play it.
I would drop any other. Actually, if they ever came out with an Avatar: The Last Airbender video game and only put it on PS5, that's when I would actually.
You'd be like, "Shut up and take my money."
I'd be like, I don't
Let's
care. I am buying the PS5.
Oh well, I guess that makes sense. Now going back to like how long it takes for like one console to be like upgraded into like the next best console.
Yeah.
Because not only are the technology changing, but also games take literally
Years.
like years. Like a good game is going to take you like at least 5 years, maybe into 7 or 8 years.
I think God of War, when it was first being made, it was like 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And that was just like concept. Like actually, when they got like really serious and hard into like creating the game development, writing of the story, like creating the graphics and the world itself, I think that took like 5 years, but like all of it was being planned 5 years before that.
Especially if you start from scratch, not using like a third party like engine like Unreal or something like that. And you're doing stuff from scratch, it takes phenomenally long.
That's why like we see a lot of like franchised things, especially like now we can have more like franchise, like God of War, and then like, because when did that one come out? The original, that was 2018, wasn't that one?
Okay, well,
No,
because
it was
they're
later than that, wasn't it?
no, so there are two reboots, two boots, I guess, of I don't know, lack of a better term, because there's the original God of War games, which take place in the Spartan.
Yeah,
universe.
I'm meaning the Norse one. So
okay,
the
cool.
the previous one to Ragnarok.
The Norse one came out in 2018.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So you are right.
Yeah, but since those are so close together, like technology has improved, but not as drastically, you can still use similar models and assets that they used in the previous one for Ragnarok, and you just upgrade their like resolutions a bit, and then you can make them a bit faster.
Yeah.
Because it's just reusing assets, whereas before they had to completely make everything from scratch.
Yeah, God of War Ragnarok is basically just the same as God of War. It's just there are a few extra game mechanics. The graphics are slightly improved, and obviously the voice acting has changed because the kid that plays the kid, his voice changed drastically. He went from a child to a teenager.
A man.
So, yeah. Now I'm a man.
You boy.
I like 'em big.
Yeah. All right. So we're kind of coming up on the end. So I have one last question, which is, what game are you guys most excited for coming soon?
For the longest time, it was Tears of the Kingdom, and now it's out. So I'm like, now I'm excited to go home and play Tears of the Kingdom.
There you go.
You got anything, Jake?
I really wanted to get Diablo 4, but everything I've seen,
it's gonna destroy your computer.
It's
gonna go out in
I
a
just
blaze of
don't.
glory.
I just don't think I have the right hardware to really play it well. Like it barely runs well on full graphics for the remastered Diablo 2 game. So I'm like, it's not going to work for Diablo 4. Not the way I want it to look like.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to hold tight until I can get like a console, like a PS5 or something like that later, and then maybe get it. But at the same time, it's like, now if like I want to play a game, I kind of want to play something that like my wife and I can enjoy, like together. I kind of want to use, like, if I get another console, because that's the weirdest thing. It's like we have our Switches, but like we don't play any games on them. I think if we got a game that we could actually play together, like a Mario Party or something like that.
It Takes Two. You have to play together.
Yeah. But like there's other games that you can like puzzle solve like together. There's one, I think it like your characters look like string.
Unravel.
Unravel.
I have that game.
Yes.
It's so fun.
That looks like fun. I think honestly getting something like that and to play with my wife.
And you can play it by yourself, or you can do it with
Co-op.
two people.
Yeah.
It's really
think,
fun.
I think that seems like a lot more fun because like when we first got our Switches, like my wife was really excited about Animal Crossing, and like we played the shit out of those games like for months. And then we realized like we're just sitting next to each other playing the same game on two different islands. You can go to each other's island, but it's not really great for co-op, honestly. So I kind of want to get something that we can play together. So I think either if I can find some games like Unraveled or other games like that seem interesting, I want to try to play something that my wife will enjoy.
Yeah.
But it's hard because my wife thinks gaming is Candy Crush. So it's kind of like, okay. So
Tasty.
I mean, yeah, it is technically gaming, but yeah.
I want.
So I don't know. I would really love to play Diablo 4, and we played some Diablo 3 together, but she lost interest. So it's like I don't want to get another Diablo game if she's going to lose interest really fast and we're not going to play it. You know, like I want to play a game that we can actually play and enjoy together. That's my thought on it.
I'm really excited for Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Ooh, I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, so this one's taking place in India. So it basically just looks like Aladdin.
That actually could work.
So the thing is, like, the Assassin's Creed games have spent a lot of
Sorry, continue.
The Assassin's Creed games are like kind of beating a dead horse in a way. They're doing the same thing over and over again, and they have like 10 Assassin's Creed games out now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
More than that even. But the universe is expanding because there's so much story and lore that they're trying to release with it. And it's becoming more interesting. So I think this one is supposed to be a follow-up to the last one because what ended up happening in the stories, some of the cultures in the history clashed. And I think they're going to build upon that in this one that's coming, because it's going to be about a character that we were introduced to in the most recent Assassin's Creed game. That's kind of a bit of an anomaly, and it was kind of, but not really confirmed as like the antagonist of the most recent game, or one of the antagonists. But now we're getting to see him as a protagonist. So I always think that that's interesting. When you can see when you're introduced to an antagonist, but then you get to see a protagonist version of that character.
Oh, interesting.
Like they're doing that with the Hunger Games movie coming out this year.
They're coming out with another Hunger Games movie?
Yep. You get to see President Snow's perspective when
he got into power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a prequel.
Why?
I think there's just a book that's also
oh, that's probably why. Okay.
And so they're doing it based on that.
I think the Hunger Games world is really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I think a Hunger Games series would be interesting.
Like
I
a
feel
video
like there's
game
enough.
series?
Yeah, because how many
totally.
books are in it? Like 5?
I think there's
4 or 5?
Well, there's 3 in the main story that we know, and then there's the 4th.
The prequel.
Yeah.
So you could do that. Oh, are you guys excited for the Harry Potter series that's supposed to come out on HBO?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of like very cautiously optimistic, just because of like Reign of Fire. The Last of Us was pretty. I like The Last of Us. I think it's above average for sure. I think it's an 8 or somewhere between 8 and 9.
I give Last of Us a 9.
But Reign of Fire was not great. Is it Reign of Fire? Game of Thrones Reign of Fire?
House of the Dragon?
You're talking about House of the Dragon.
House of the.
What are you talking about here?
I'm drunk. Not really.
I've had one beer.
I'm drunk.
He's out.
I'm not really. I'm just kidding, guys. Yeah, House of Dragons was not great, sadly, and that sucks because it has Matthew Smith in it, which I really like Matthew Smith as an actor in general, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I see him as the Doctor from Doctor Who, and then I see him in the House of Dragons, and I'm like, I know this isn't correlate. I know they're different characters. I know it's different universes, but I can't stop seeing the Doctor.
That's fair.
And I just don't think he's a great fit for that franchise, in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of individuals you could say that about that franchise. I just don't think that they were able to hold a candle even close to the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. But that's just my opinion. That's just a man behind a microphone saying things.
Just a man.
Just
a voice.
Man. Just a voice behind the microphone. But anyways, guys, any other comments or?
I think we're good.
You guys are good? Okay. I'm sad. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of the Periodic Review. Hopefully we have earned your subscription today, so don't forget to like and share this video with family and friends. Definitely hit that subscribe button and click that bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss a content release as we hit and smack and move microphones.
You heard nothing.
And from our family to yours, good night.
Bye.
Bye.